He stared at the screen longer than he should have. The message was still there, unread, but impossible to ignore. The room was silent, yet his thoughts were louder than anything he had ever heard. Not panic, not anger. Something worse. Doubt. Because once doubt appears, it doesn't leave quietly. It settles in. It waits. It rewrites everything you thought you knew. At first, he told himself it meant nothing. People receive strange messages all the time. Wrong numbers, accidental sends, things that don't belong to them. That's what he wanted to believe. So he locked his phone, placed it face down on the table, and stood up. He walked to the window. The city looked the same as it always did. Lights flickering, cars moving without purpose, people living their lives unaware that somewhere in a quiet room, someone's reality was starting to crack. He rested his forehead against the glass. Cold, grounding. He needed that. Minutes passed, maybe more. Time stopped behaving normally when the mind refuses to rest. Eventually, he picked up the phone again, unlocked it. The message hadn't changed. Of course it hadn't. It read exactly the same. Short, simple, devastating. No explanation, no context, just enough words to plant a seed. And once planted, that seed grows fast. He thought about deleting it. Just erase it and pretend it never existed. But deep down, he knew that wouldn't work. You can delete a message. You can't delete the thought it creates. So instead, he did the thing he had been avoiding. He opened the conversation. There were older messages. Not many, enough to make his chest tighten. Casual at first, almost innocent, then slowly familiar. Inside jokes, shared memories, moments that didn't belong to him. That was the part that hurt the most. Not the betrayal itself, but the realization that something meaningful had existed, completely outside of his awareness. He tried to breathe normally. Inhale, exhale. His hands were shaking. Not violently, subtly. The kind of shaking you don't notice until it's too late. He checked the timestamps. Late nights, early mornings, times when he remembered her saying she was tired, busy, asleep. Now those moments felt different, rewritten, recolored. He wanted to be wrong. More than anything, he wanted a reasonable explanation, something logical, something boring. But logic was abandoning him. Every new detail pushed him further from denial and closer to something he wasn't ready to face. He locked the phone again, this time harder, as if force could change what was already known. He sat down. The chair creaked under his weight, a small sound, but it felt loud in the silence. He replayed memories, conversations, moments he once thought were happy. Now they felt staged, like scenes in a movie where you only understand the truth after the final reveal. And suddenly, everything makes sense, in the worst possible way. His phone vibrated. Once, he froze, didn't move, didn't breathe. Then it vibrated again. A new message. From her. "Are you okay? You haven't replied." He stared at the words. Simple, concerned, familiar. And suddenly they felt foreign, like they were written by someone he thought he knew, but didn't. He didn't answer. Not yet. Because once he did, there would be no going back. Every relationship has a moment when silence becomes heavier than words. This was his. Instead, he opened the message thread again, scrolled further, and that's when he saw it. The one message that removed all doubt, the one that turned suspicion into certainty. A date, a location, a sentence that ended with, "Don't tell him." His chest tightened, his vision blurred. For a moment he thought he might pass out, but he didn't. Pain doesn't always knock you down. Sometimes it keeps you awake. He put the phone down slowly, carefully, like it might explode. Then he laughed, a short, hollow sound, the kind of laugh that scares people when they hear it. Because it isn't joy, it's disbelief. He thought about confronting her immediately, demanding answers, watching her face as she tried to explain. But something stopped him. A quiet voice inside his head. It said, "Listen first." So he waited. Minutes passed, then more. The phone vibrated again. "Please answer." He typed, deleted, typed again, deleted again. Words felt useless, too small for what he felt. Finally, he wrote, "Who is he?" The typing indicator appeared, stopped, appeared again, stopped. That pause said more than any message ever could. Then the reply came, short, careful, calculated. "It's not what you think." He closed his eyes, because it was exactly what he thought. That was the moment he understood something important. Truth rarely arrives with drama. It arrives quietly, and once it does, it doesn't ask for permission to stay. He didn't argue, didn't accuse, didn't raise his voice. He simply asked one final question. "How long?" The reply took longer this time, much longer. When it finally came, it confirmed everything, not just the betrayal, but the distance, the lies, the moments he had felt something was wrong but chose to ignore. He set the phone down, stood up, and walked back to the window. The city was still there, unchanged, indifferent. That's the strange thing about pain. The world doesn't stop for it, it keeps moving, leaving you behind to deal with the aftermath alone. He realized then that the message wasn't the beginning, it was the end. The end of pretending, the end of uncertainty, the end of a version of his life that no longer existed. Sometimes it takes one message to destroy a relationship. Sometimes it takes one message to save you from living a lie. He picked up the phone one last time, typed a message. Simple. Final. "I know." Then he turned it off. And in the silence that followed, he felt something unexpected. Not relief, not peace, but clarity. Because once the truth is known, there is no confusion left, only choice. And tomorrow he would decide what kind of life he wanted to rebuild.